All right, hey, just wanted to give a quick update for the Parametric Guitar Fretboard Maker. I've gone through and I've done a lot of work on the front end. I'm pretty pleased with the state it's in right now. It's still very much in beta. There's a lot going on the back end that needs to get tidied up. There's still some features I want to implement, and obviously there's probably going to be a lot of bug fixes and issues to deal with. So originally, this was going to be the Parametric Guitar Maker. I think for now, I'm just going to focus just solely on the fretboard, and then maybe from there expand it to more features guitar related. But just for now, I think I'm just going to do the Fretboard Maker. So this is kind of what it looks like right now. Like I mentioned in the last video, I've went through and I've updated the UI. So now we have interactive sidebar with different pages. So our main page is going to be our parameters, and this is where we can go through and update and change the parameters for the fretboard. Basically, this is just kind of like a glorified parameter sheet. But what's nice about this is you can make changes and you can still interact with your scene. So if you have a second monitor or you have a big enough monitor, you can leave this open. So let's go through from the beginning. I'll have a link to my GitHub where you can download this as a zip file, and then you'll be able to go to your scripts or add in from device and be able to install the folder from there. So when you first initiate it, or run it, you're going to get prompted saying the Parametric Guitar Maker has been added to the Solid tab under the Create drop-down menu. Click the button in the design, fretboards, etc. And you can click OK. And as you see here, we have a button here for the Parametric Guitar Maker, which is just going to be promoted from down here. So if you don't want that up there, you can go through and you can say, I don't want to pin this to the toolbar. And then you can just access it through there. And if you want, you can also pin it to your shortcuts or even create a keyboard shortcut for it. So when you initiate it, you're going to get a message here saying this is the beta version. Hey, heads up. Nothing's guaranteed. So I haven't necessarily worked through the logic of future-proofing this yet. So anything you make with it now, there's no guarantees this will technically work with it as I produce updates. But I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's solid and won't break any designs. Again, if something were to happen, not all is lost. You still have access to all your parameters through your change parameter sheet up here. So again, this is just more of like a glorified user interface. So you'll be prompted with this once and you say, okay, I understand. And then we can go through the different elements so far. So this is just an update banner. I mentioned in the last video that this is all going to be pulled from a live website. That's no longer the case. This is actually pulled through the distribution of the app within the actual add-in folder. So this is all static on your machine with the add-in. This will actually be pulled from my GitHub. So this is actually connected to the internet and live, as well as the version number. So whenever I push an update to GitHub, this should have a little amber notification dot to let you know that there's an update. And then this is the same thing where this is only for letting you know if I've pushed an update or there's changes or things like that, just to have some more of like a real-time notification so you don't have to continuously download the add-in to see if there's any changes. So you can close that like any website. And so we have our parameters page here. And currently this has all our parameters and then probably more than we need right now. And then we can go to our templates. And here I have a couple pre-built templates, and you can click load. And what this will do, this will automatically change your parameters here. And have you noticed that anything that's changed is highlighted in an amber ring. And then you'll see down here, now it says import and apply 13 changes. So I have 3 basic templates for now, a base template, a multi-scale, and a standard. I can go through later on and maybe try to do something that's more like Stratocaster, Telecaster, like I said in the first video, that are actually real life guitars. But for now, this is just kind of a launching pad. And if you want to create your own, when you go through here on the parameters page and say you set it and you're like, okay, this is the guitar I want to design. I really like this. You can say save as template, and you can be like, this is the one, definitely never changing. And you can hit save. And then that's going to be stored here. And this is just a text file stored locally within your add-in folder. So if you want to open your folder and look, you can see here that under your Guitar Maker templates, you have the JSON folder, which is just, or excuse me, JSON file, which is just a text file. And if you don't want that, you can go through and delete that. And then we have our reports page. And I hope to do a lot more with this. I'll build this out more to hopefully give some more information, and then I'll probably add some export buttons. So if you want to export this as like a PDF or a CSV, or maybe send this to Google Sheets or Excel, something like that. But this is just a brief way to kind of take a peek at your measurements for your build, and then as well as, especially this, you can double check the distances, because this is going to be independent from what's going to be generated. So if these two match, then you know, hey, okay, I'm doing something right. My measurements for my fret spacing are correct, and then you can change the tolerance, or excuse me, the precision. You know, I know machining, you're not going to probably get any more precise than this, but if you just, for verification purposes, if you want to crank this up to 9, Fusion also goes up to 9 for precision. So then you can really dial in how accurate your precision is. And it's a good way to test, because, you know, one measurement might be slightly off, but that can compound down the line, and your first fret might be just a hair off, but then your 24th fret is, you know, a little bit more significant. So that's the reports. Change log, this is just going to be whenever you install this or update it, it's going to tell you what's been changed for the current version you're working in. We have a community tab. This will have links to my YouTube channel, my Parametric Guitar website, the Parametric Guitar Discord server. So if you're interested in joining that, and if you have any questions or problems, or you want to share, or just, you know, hang out and chat with people that are also interested in Fusion and Luthery, as well as the Facebook group, if you want to join the Facebook group. And then just some basics, hey, you know, don't be a putz. And then we have our support page, and this is, you know, if you think this is really great and this is really helpful and you want to, you know, help me out, that would be great. I do intend to keep this free. I'm a big advocate of open source, and I'm a huge fan of guitars. I think the world needs more guitars, so I want more people building guitars, and this will hopefully help people get to that point where they can build guitars. So I want to keep this free and open source. So you can either go to my Ko-Fi page, or you can star this on GitHub. You know, the stars help motivate me. Motivation is big, whether it's monetary or just through kudos. And then an about page. And this is just giving you a little breakdown of what this is. And then again, back to my GitHub. And then this will take you to my main website. And this will take you to the releases. Some of this is redundant, but you know, that's good that it's available in different areas for you. And then if we expand this, so the connected, all this means is the front end is talking to the back end through the API. So green is good, red means it's not connected. You might have to right click and hit reload, and you see red, okay. And then issues, this will take you to the GitHub issues page. So if you run into a bug or you have a suggestion or anything like that, that's someplace you can connect with me, and hopefully I'll be diligent enough to check that. I apologize beforehand. I'm not the most studious when it comes to like checking up on issues or comments. And then help is just a, standard, kind of gives you a little walkthrough of what's going on and how this works. Again, GitHub, and then report an issue. So if we go back to our parameters, I'm sure you're tired of looking at just this. So we can go through here, we can set single scale, which you'll see will only give us the scale length. If we set this to multi-scale, this will give us a neutral fret as well as the bass and the treble scale lengths. And here you can type in radius, and that'll populate everything that's related to a radius measurement. So that's a quick way to search. I might add a way to star this as a favorite, just like the original parameter sheet. That way it's always available to you at the top. So then, these can collapse, and this will tell you how many different parameters you're working with. So we can go back to templates. Let's just say we want to load in a standard, and we'll see it's applying 8 changes. And because it's applying changes on import, it will be a little bit slower. If we were just to import the default file, it would be a lot quicker. It's just a matter of what you need to see visually, because you can import the default file, go back and make the changes, and it's still going to be the same amount of time. So we will say, okay, we're happy with this. And it's currently importing. What it's going to do is it's going to open up a new document, because we want to preserve all the actual grouping and browser features that we have in the original file. If we were to just kind of bring it into the scene we're already open with, you don't always get that. So we can close this. We don't need it anymore. And just to show real quick, again, here's all the parameters it generates with the file. But what we have is this parameter called Fretboard Maker. And this is super important. Where did it go? Or excuse me, fingerprint. And don't touch this, don't modify it. Try not to, just ignore that this exists. And all this is this is just like a fingerprint for whenever you open up this, the app later on, it checks for this. And if it returns true that this does exist, it knows that this was created with the add-in, and it will reinitiate the add-in to work with this, versus if you open up this add-in and just an older file that you didn't use it for, it's not going to work. So this is just a way to connect the add-in to your file and make sure it always knows, like, hey, we built this together, we can keep working on it. So just so you know, don't do anything with this. And so again, you have all your expressions and your values. So having said that, now we can open up this again, and some things have changed. You can ignore these for now. This will get tidied up later. And we'll see we have timeline, and instead of import and apply, we now have apply to model. And the timeline, this is under construction. What this is going to do is this is going to pull all your timeline features in and allow you to suppress and unsuppress through this. This is still a work in progress. It doesn't work yet. So it's there. If you're playing with it and you're like, well, nothing's happening, it's because it just doesn't work yet. And then say, okay, well, let's go to our named views, go to top. And you're like, okay, well, this is cool, but what if I want a multi-scale version? You can go over here to multi-scale and say, okay, for my treble length scale, we'll do this. We'll apply one change. Let's make it a 7-string. And we'll do a neutral fret of 8th, or 8. And when it's amber, it's calculating. When it turns gray again, that means, hey, it worked. So there it is. So that's basically how this works. Again, there's a lot of stuff to figure out. I only know how I build fretboards. I don't know how you build fretboards. I did this as a stylistic choice when I first built the file. I'm sure a lot of people won't want that. When I go through and enable the timeline to work, you can go through and suppress that. You can do that even now manually. We want our fret markers, and we can just suppress the features. And boom, they're not there. And then you'll need to go through, if you want to do your own, you'll have to go through and create or modify that sketch at least. And I intend in the near future, hopefully upcoming weeks, upcoming months, to do some written articles and some video tutorials on how to actually build this from scratch. And that will hopefully give you the a better insight and actual intimacy with the model and how it's built. And with that, you'll be able to confidently modify and change it. Whereas I mentioned in the last video, is currently, if you do use this, you're kind of stuck with how this works, which is fine. I'm confident in it so far. I would love to be proven otherwise. I'm always looking to improve, and if something I've done is wrong, I'd definitely like to know. That way I don't look like an idiot. So that's where it's at right now. Again, I'd love to hear any feedback. I'll have this up on my GitHub right now, so you can download it and hopefully play with it and see what you can do. Eventually, I plan to go through and add limits where you can't crank this up. So 24 will be the cap. I might have an override or something where you can push the limits. Certain things will break. Just the physical aspect of it. You can't have a 1/2 inch circle radius for the heel because that's just physically impossible. So if we were to be down here and go heel radius, let's do 1 inch. Okay, that didn't, oh, that did break. So I'll have to improve the undo workflow as well. So again, it still needs work. It's not future proof. It's not a perfect file. You can't just throw everything at it and expect it to work. So definitely play around with it. If you are able to break it with something that you think shouldn't break, absolutely, please let me know. You can go down to here, click on bugs. That's going to open up your browser to the issues for the add-in. And then from here, you can make a new issue, or if you want to go through the community, where are you at? If any of these, if you want to try to contact me through, you're welcome to. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I've been rambling for almost 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make short videos. I feel like there's just kind of a lot to cover. So again, that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.